Hi guys, welcome to this week's thrift shop makeover. This week I found an old vintage luggage set. This piece immediately started out difficult. I broke the handle just trying to walk it over to my table. That needed to come off anyway, so oh well. This piece of luggage is so big, I'm starting with the biggest one first. Big pieces call for big measures, so I'm breaking out the gesso. Even though I endlessly wiped this piece down, it still looks disgustingly dirty. I mean, it's a huge difference from when I got it, but I can't help to think that I'm just trapping dirt under the gesso. So for this piece, I was thinking of a comic book background, but in my own style. I also knew I wanted to incorporate a person on here, which is why you see her sketched out as I paint the background that I think that I want. I did some sketching and then broke out my Posca pens. At the time, this is the background color I thought I wanted, so with that confidence, I went ahead and started outlining the sketches I made in pencil. This was really difficult at first, but I'm thinking maybe it's just because the Posca pens were brand new, so they hadn't started being used yet. As I'm working on some of the comic book pops, like the cloud and the designs on her face, usually those things will have a word in them like bam or boom, but I wasn't really feeling that. I also decided I wasn't feeling the purple background anymore, so here comes the black. I'm super excited to break out my new dotting tool to dot on some of those zodiac constellations. Covering the black, if I decided I hated it after changing it from purple, would have been so difficult. This was a big struggle, but I'm glad I love it so far. And that's disgusting. Yes, I take great care of my paints. This was disgusting, but it was actually pretty satisfying to plop out of there, believe it or not. And there is the glob baby. A lot of my paints are getting old and need replacing probably. After working a little bit farther, I'm still liking the black so far. Here I'm adding some of those typical comic book pops that you might see in the comic books. Just some dot work along her shoulder with my Posca markers. I have worked on this for over a week and now it's finally time to varnish. I added several coats of this to protect and hold the paint in. It is so satisfying to watch it go from dry to glossy. That can't just be me. This is literally my favorite part of doing a piece. I switched brushes and this brush makes it even better to watch and more satisfying. Now that I've spent an uncomfortable amount of time watching that, this piece is finally finished. Overall, I think she turned out awesome. For the amount of time I had to put into this though, it's just for no reason in my opinion. It's just the overwhelming number of coats of paint you have to put on top of everything. And then I get to this point to realize that I painted her upside down. That's where the handles go. You can see my pure happiness with this mistake here. I'm clearly overjoyed about that overlook on my end after all that work I put in. I still love it and would honestly use it myself, but I will just harp on the fact that I spent so much time on this for it to be upside down. And I also still have the whole other side to do. Hopefully I can find a way to get over it and move on. I'm also changing the clasps and lining from silver to gold. So next week I will actually be working on a different piece of this luggage set. This took a really long time, and not only does the whole other side need done, but the inside needs help too. So stay tuned as I finish this and the entire set of this luggage.